Okay, so North Korea has just tested a new weapon, and honestly, it's one of the most alarming things we've seen from them in years. It's this combination of a really advanced missile with a payload so controversial, more than 100 countries have actually banned it. Let's break down what this threat is all about. Some weapons are so devastating, they earn a nickname. And this one's is the Devil's Weapon. That's a name that's reserved for something that doesn't just destroy, it does it without caring what it hits. To really understand why this test has everyone so concerned, we've got to look at what exactly North Korea has put together here. So here's the bottom line. Sometime between April 6th and 8th, North Korea tested a short-range ballistic missile. Now, this wasn't just any old test. Nope. This missile was carrying a cluster bomb warhead. And that's a major escalation in their military tech. And it raises a whole new set of worries about stability in the region and, frankly, the safety of civilians. To really get what makes this combination so incredibly dangerous, we need to look at its two key parts. So first up, let's talk about the missile itself, the delivery system. It's called the Hwasong-11Ga. This right here is the Hwasong-11Ga, which is also known as the KN-23. Now, the crucial part you need to know is that it's a solid fuel missile. See, unlike the old-school liquid fuel types that you have to slowly and very carefully fuel up before a launch, solid fuel missiles are basically ready to go at a moment's notice. This gives an enemy way less warning time, making them incredibly hard to spot and even harder to intercept. Let's geek out on the specs for a second. It's got a range of about 600 to 700 kilometers, and it can carry a half-ton warhead. We're talking conventional, chemical, or even nuclear. But the number here that is absolutely stunning is its accuracy. Its CEP, that's circular error probable, is just 5 to 30 meters. To put that in perspective, it means this thing is designed to land within just a few car lengths of its target, for a ballistic missile that is frighteningly precise. Okay, so we've got a fast, highly accurate missile. But what happens when you take that precision delivery system and you combine it with one of the most indiscriminate payloads ever designed? Let's take a look at the warhead itself, the cluster bomb. So what even is a cluster munition? The definition is pretty simple, but it's also chilling. It's a weapon that doesn't just explode in one big blast. Instead, it pops open in the air and releases dozens, sometimes hundreds, of smaller bombs. We call them submunitions, and just scatters them all over a huge area. So here's how it works. The missile launches, it gets to a certain altitude, and it releases its warhead. Then that warhead casing breaks open in midair, and out come hundreds of these little bomblets. They just rain down, completely saturating a massive target zone. See, the goal isn't to hit a single point. It's to blanket an entire area. And that right there, that brings us to the very heart of the controversy. The whole point of this weapon, its very design, makes it an indiscriminate threat. And that's exactly why it earned that notorious nickname. To really put this into perspective, a single strike from one of these things can blanket an area the size of about 10 football fields. Just try to wrap your head around that for a second. The sheer scale of it is enormous. It's a devastating area denial weapon, pretty much designed to wipe out everything and everyone within that massive footprint. This really highlights the fundamental difference between a targeted strike and a cluster attack, right? A precision weapon, it's aiming for a specific tank, maybe a single building. A cluster bomb, by its very nature, can't tell the difference between a military target and a school playground, a soldier, and a family. It's inherently indiscriminate, and that is exactly why it is so feared. But the immediate devastation, that's only half the story. The Devil's Weapon has a second, much more insidious trick up its sleeve. The danger that just hangs around, long after the fighting stops. And this is what makes them a true humanitarian nightmare. You see, a pretty significant number of these little submunitions, they just don't explode when they hit the ground. They just sit there, buried in fields, in roads, and rubble. They effectively become landmines. So years, even decades later, a farmer tilling a field or a child playing could just stumble upon one, and the result is tragic. This unexploded ordnance basically poisons the land, making recovery and rebuilding incredibly dangerous. So this test, it raises a truly terrifying question. As missile technology gets more and more precise, are we heading into a new era where that very same precision is used to deliver the most indiscriminate weapons we can imagine? The development of this Devil's Weapon isn't just a threat from North Korea, it feels like a warning about the future of warfare itself.